Washoe Club bartender who worked here from 1970. Well, in 1979, his son and his 14-year-old friend went 3 miles in that direction to play above Silver City. That's where you guys were just traveling through. It's right over there. In one of the hills, and they ran over one of them and fell into a 1,200-foot deep ventilation shaft for a mine. That's almost like a quarter of a mile straight down and killed those kids instantly. Understandably, Scotty's pretty upset at the death of his son. I mean, what good parent wouldn't be? He was so upset that on June 2nd of 1982, he decided he could no longer live without his kid.
Every business does its own thing. So Squarebill told...
He decided he could no longer live without his kid. He got off work downstairs at the bar, came up here to his bedroom, pulled a gun out, and shot himself in the head. He ended his life, and that to me is absolutely heartbreaking. Scotty haunts this section of the building still, and he is a very active entity in this whole section of the building. I was up here one night doing an investigation with some people, and we were sitting right here on the floor with the Ovilus, and we had a red hot on that desk. And we're like, Scotty, if you're here, give us a sign. REM pod went crazy, my friends. It made multiple tones at the same time, and each one started to fluctuate through different pitch ranges at different speeds. I've personally never seen a REM pod do that before or after that ever happened. So we started going back and forth with each other. Have you seen one do that? No. Have you seen one do that? No. So we're like, this is probably a pretty strong manifestation to make this thing go off in a way we've never ever seen it go off. Then the Ovilus said, depression, help me. And we were like, I think Scotty might be up here with us right now. And then a couple minutes later, it then said, after we're like, hey, move something, touch something, say something else, it goes, the REM pod went off, and it was a hard hit. Then, we started talking about, because it was I forget the name of the YouTube channel, they were filming stuff too, so he started talking about, suicide awareness, which is a real big thing. And as he's talking, the Ovilus thing goes 1,200. And so I stepped back and I was like, depression helped me 1,200. That sounds like something Scotty would say. He was depressed for the few years that followed after his son's death. He wanted help to get over that grief. He didn't receive any, so he committed suicide right here in his room because his son died in a 1,200-foot deep ventilation shaft. That is, for me, the most solid interaction I've ever had with Scotty. Now, going back in time, because this room has been marked with a lot of tragedy. In the 1870s, on that side of our building, we had the Roos Brothers clothing store, and the back of the building was an apartment building.
Thank you, Daddy.
Living in one of those apartments was a Civil War Union general by the name of General Jacob McLaughlin. And I actually have a portrait of him that I'll show you guys. Well, during the war, he was an explosives expert. So it makes sense that when the war ended, he became an explosives expert for the local mining companies in the immediate area. But Jacob did not leave his explosives just at the mine site. He kept them stored in his bedroom. You don't do things like that with explosives, guys. He also rented out the room below his and stored explosives in that as well. Jacob also had a pet spider monkey. You don't mix monkeys and explosives. June 29, 1873 at 11 o'clock at night, his monkey knocked over 6 cans of nitroglycerin, causing a chain reaction setting off an additional 150 pounds of dynamite. The back of that building disappeared off the face of the earth. The monkey was actually vaporized. They found no remnants of that little thing. They discovered Jacob's body almost completely blown through one of the brick walls in his bedroom. He was so mangled, the only way they identified him was because his name was engraved on his pocket watch, and somehow it was still inside one of his pockets. 100 feet behind our building, in that direction on B Street, a guy was just walking down the roadway. Well, an iron curtain shutter door, which are extremely, extremely heavy, was blown off that building, thrown through the air, and it actually hit and killed that gentleman. They say when it's your time to go, it is your time to go. He was hit and killed by a flying door. I feel bad for that man. In one of the Innermore apartments on that side of that building, you had a guy by the name of Charles Knox. Now, he survived that explosion, but the roof actually collapsed on top of him, pinning him from the neck down under a lot of brick and timber. He was still alive. So the fire crews came in and they started removing that debris, but they ran back out because that explosion created a fire. The fire went into Charles's bedroom and burned him to death. Burned him so severely when they recovered his remains 2 days later, his legs were burned completely off of his torso. That's how intense that blaze was. In the room we're standing in, you had Ed and his 8-year-old daughter Ella. They both died immediately in the blast as well. In total, 12 people were killed, and it was due to the explosion, the overpressure, the concussive wave, and flying timbers and bricks, and over 24 were injured. Ella, just like Scotty, haunts this section of the building. So as I mentioned a little bit ago, I do security stuff here for the Washoe Club. So I'm up here 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6 at night, just consistently checking on the place every now and again. And it's common for me to hear a little girl laugh within this room or right outside of that doorway. And it is so loud and clear, if I'm on the phone with someone, they can hear it. We also used to have a lot of toys up here. So if you look at old tour footage, I mean 5-ish months ago, you'll see there's stuffed animals that surround, I mean, the entirety of this room. There's toy balls, stuffed animals, you name it, it was up here. And it was common for me to come in through the building. I have a door that's back there that I can come in through and find toys that belong within this room. Actually, down between the 2 staircases, I would find some down by the ballroom, some down by the crypt area. There were countless times where I'd take a toy ball and I would lock it inside of this cabinet. And the way to do that, as you can see, it's kind of loose, but this thing, when it goes like that or whatever. So I'd take the ball, I'd stick it in here, and I'd shut the door. And back in those months, this cabinet top was actually flipped around. So I'd do that, and I'd go on my security check, I'd come back, the ball would be gone, the doors would still be shut. Wouldn't be able to find the ball the rest of that time. I'd walk through the whole building again. Where did my ball go? Then one time, about a week after it disappeared, it showed up. There's a green chair over there in that corner, and it actually showed up underneath that green chair. It was the trippiest thing I've ever experienced. We've had times where I would be up here with some investigators. We would put a toy ball in the center of this room, and we'd walk off. We'd come back, come around, and the ball would be gone. So we'd cut the corner a little more because we, naturally, where'd the ball go? And it would usually be sitting right in this doorway threshold spinning. I mean, crazy. I actually have a picture of who we believe to be Ella as a manifestation. This one's actually pretty cool. So this was taken coming up the staircase and then shooting through this doorway. And right there looks like a little girl in old Victorian style clothing. You can see her face, like the jawline, her nose, the hair as it comes down. That's a cool capture. That is a fantastic capture. I have one more picture that someone got of her and sent to us, and it looks like she's actually raising her hand and is like pushing like a stroller or something. You can see it back there.
Oh my god, that is crazy.
There's nothing that has ever looked like that in this room, because if I back out and go to similar age pictures from that time, as you can see, that's my former coworker Carl, but there's nothing in this room that resembles a little girl with her hand raised, or even manifesting, as we can all see. Isn't that a trip? That is crazy. Now, I've had people see shadow people from this doorway, actually, looking this way, across this hallway. It's common enough to see a shadow man walk back and forth through this. I have a picture of that I'll share with you guys. So you can see him right there.
God.
Isn't that awesome? I've also had it very common for people to see either people walking down these stairs, and if the dark thing is active, it doesn't walk, it crawls, which is, that just sounds like straight out of a Conjuring movie, but it does crawl. You can ask other employees. I don't know if Kimmy's ever experienced it, but the older gentleman that was sitting at the bar, Craig, the one that we were hearing footsteps walk around in this room. And if you guys pan in here, you can see it. I have a bunch of wallpaper all stacked up because we're restoring this place how it looked in 1862. So I've got a whole bunch of wallpaper all right here, and it sounded like these were getting knocked over. We would hear stuff like this going on in here as we're on the other side of the wall. And he said that he saw a person like poke their head out. We were done. We went back downstairs for like 3 or 4 hours. The poor guy was terrified. So this is really, really active. I guess seeing people, figures, and all that crazy stuff. Through this doorway, this is the old music room. Has Winifred, and I don't like that. I'll go into that in a second. The way we know this is the music room is the roof is actually shaped like a grand piano, and it has this curved wall. The reason this wall is curved is to actually help direct sound. So whatever you play in this room, speakers, Victrola, piano, pump organs, anything like that, your sound travels this flat wall, goes around this curve, and it's directed out of the doorway, deflects off that stairwell, and it goes left, right, and down. So you hear whatever's played in this throughout the entire building. Versus like your modern home, when you play music or your TV really loud in a room and you walk out, it's a lot quieter, right? It's because your sound waves deflect off the 4 corners and they go back to the center. Over 150 years ago, they knew how to properly direct sound so you would hear it throughout the entire building. Extremely, extremely smart people. Now, for the weird haunting stuff, with this being the music room, I have personally heard loud ragtime piano come blaring out of this thing.
I'll be back, baby daughter. Okay. See you soon. Let's go. Hey, babe. Oh, hey. Hey, Teddy wife. Hey, I'm just looking out on the watchtower for you, Daddy. Good girl. Keep watching. Tell me if you know. Yeah, I will, Daddy. See ya, my wife. See ya. Okay, jump. Jump. Go up. Close. Press play.
Second and third story minus 3 exit signs and a power cable. So there's no speakers
Oh,
or like
God.
electronic pianos that'll play up here to make that kind of music happen. That right there, you might think is a piano. This is actually a pump organ. So the only way this will make sounds is if you pump these pedals while pressing the keys, and as you can see, it's broken, so the billows are broke, so this really won't make any sounds. So to hear old saloon music play out of this, ridiculous. I mean, it is absolutely insane. It's loud and it's like 3 or 4 seconds long. It's the craziest thing. I've had people on my tours hear it. This right here is, we used to call her
I can't wait until you pregnant me, Daddy. I'll be a good mother for you. Good girl, daughter. Oh, I know I am.
Yeah, remember when you pointed at the doll?
Yeah. Yeah, I can't stand this doll, to be honest with you. So her name used to be Annabelle. That's what my coworker called her. About 4 months ago, I was up here with some very good friends of mine, and we were doing a little spirit box thing in here. And we were like, "What is your name?" And the doll, or like this little girl voice cuts through, and it goes, "Winifred." So her name is actually Winifred. She rocked by herself often enough. Yesterday she did it twice for people, so you might get
Love you, Daddy,
wrong.
Amy.
Usually it's
Love
real
you too,
subtle.
Daddy.
So it's usually kind of stuff like this. The first time I saw her do that was about 7 or 8 months ago at about 2:15 in the morning. Came through here doing a security check, shined my flashlight in on her, and she was going like this. And I just sped walk past her, to be honest with you. I don't do the weird creepy doll thing. There's the chair. As you can see, there's nothing different, right? So there's no reason this thing should rock on its own, ever. She's from about the 1800s. I have a cool picture that someone captured, I want to say it was last year, of this doll, and they captured whatever it is attached to it manifesting out of it. Oh, check that out. So you can see it's coming up over the doll, or out of the doll. I mean, that is cool. And what's unique about this too is to get an effect like that, if you're in a dark space or something, you would have to like have a light source and go like that as you're shooting. All of the laugh is perfectly aligned, so you can tell that they're not bouncing their phone around. That's cool. That is a cool capture. With that being said, we'll go this way, and I'll introduce you to Lena, who's a pretty prominent entity here in this place. We'll go around this hallway right here. This is another locked room right there just for storage antiques. I have not heard anything in that one yet. This half of the building, personally, for me, I haven't really had much ever happen, so, but the next room we'll go to, yeah.
Yeah, we're in this. No.
No, we're on the 3rd floor.
Oh, shit. This is a carbon copy split.
Almost. It is, it's a labyrinth up here.
The feel,
Yeah. And you're not the first person I've ever had say that and stuff. So, in the mid-1880s, there was a lady of the night by the name of Lena who was actually murdered in this room. She was murdered by having her throat slit so severe the girl was almost completely decapitated. Now, we think Lena haunts this location still because they never found the man who took her life. So she received no type of closure. And we think she was either murdered wearing blue or that was her favorite color. Because whenever she shows up on the 1st, 2nd, or 3rd floor of this building, people will report seeing a woman in a blue Victorian dress with a manifestation in its entirety. The skin color, the transparency, the weird misty stuff has a blue hue to it. The picture I'll show you guys was taken, I want to say about 2.5 years ago in broad daylight from across the street, looking back at this building. And in the room, right below this one, looking out of the window, is who we believe to be Lena. It's a woman in a blue Victorian dress, but she's see-through. She's see-through. Isn't that cool? I had people. Yeah. Isn't that cool? Earlier today, my second tour today, I had, right when it was just 2 people, and I started talking to them, they go, "It's funny you say that, because as we were walking by, we looked up, and we could see a woman, she was wearing blue, and she was looking at us out of the windows, but you guys were closed." I I was like, you probably saw her. When we get downstairs, I'll show you some pictures of her in the museum of her manifesting on the spiral staircase. But I have a real cool picture in here that I'll show you guys when we get downstairs, because that's where we captured it. I'm the only person in the building with that. And it is mind-boggling.
Just like lit up, right now.
You're feeling it.
Yeah, just like if my clothes are off and my hair's all gone in.
Mm-hmm.
Right now.
That's weird. 'Cause my left ear just started to ring.
And I've got a headache, and my head is full, my voice has changed. Just being full.
Yeah.
So someone today saw Lena.
I believe so. I believe it was who they saw, and she was within. I think she was down on the second story, looking out. Not the window that picture was taken, but the one next to it, because she was closer to the E and the washout, and that runs right here. That transom window did not used to be open. It actually swung full open during one of my tours about a month ago. So it was closed. When a transom window naturally, I guess, slips for whatever reason, it'll like slowly rotate, right? That's just the way the weight transfer goes. I was doing a tour, and we were all talking, and it went from full close to full open. I mean, just snapped. This thing is so, and I'm 6 foot tall. So just as a gauge of height, so I'm 72 inches, 6 foot tall. I can't even get it to even try and pull it closed. And we were all standing. I'll never forget it. I was right here talking to my people right out of the corner of my eye. It just literally closed and just snapped full open. I mean, just fast, super fast. And if we do it, you want to be slow. It's all from 1862. I don't want to break the hinges off it. So that was a real cool experience that I had with that transom window, actually. There's a mannequin sitting right here. Don't let him scare you. This wallpaper is from 1862.
Wow.
And that shine that it has is beautiful, man. It's so good stuff. And then we will go this way to the room that I just did. Yeah. There's a guy sitting right here. Don't let him scare you.
Oh.
Alright, let's go. Tell me if you feel the pressure shift in this one. I feel like my stomach's like flipped. It feels weird. I don't like this room. So this is a cool example of wallpaper we put up. It's from Bradbury Company's 1875-76 archives. So this is kind of how our building's gonna look when we're all done. It's real cool. But the reason it's called the Red Room is, well, it's surrounded by red paint. But I won't talk about any of that stuff. This door right here. This is a key piece of thing right here. So this door is known to shut on its own. And it gets shut so hard every now and again, it's actually breaking right here below that doorknob. I can pull it off the wall and you can see how robust this door actually is. Now there's no reason this thing should be shutting on its own or slamming as hard as it does. The windows on that side of the room are completely shut. So there's no wind that comes through here, as we can feel. It's raining outside, it's decently windy. There's no wind pulling through this thing. If I stand next to it and I start stomping my foot,
So no bond.
it doesn't move, right? So there's no wind pulling it closed. There's no vibration causing it to bounce and shut. And if I pull it off the wall and let gravity and the angle of our building, because everything in Virginia City is crooked, do its thing, this is not shut hard enough to damage an 1 3/4 thick solid wood door. As we can all see, right? That's not going to cause it to split that way. What's interesting to note as well is the way it's breaking is very similar to if you were to kick a door on this side. The kinetic force travels through it and it starts to split on the other side of it. Kind of like if you shoot a piece of wood or a can or something, the entry hole is smaller than the exit. Same thing applies to this. That force transfer causes it to go this way. So it's like something is kicking this thing shut. It gets slammed so hard every now and again, it sounds like a 12-gauge shotgun gets fired off up here in the building, and we can hear it down at the barn. That is insane. I've had it happen during tours. My coworkers have experienced it. I've had it slam when I'm doing security checks up here by myself. I am not the biggest fan of that one. It scares me to half to death. It's just scary. Ghost Adventures, countless YouTube investigators, private, just fun paranormal people, they've all captured it on video, shutting on its own. I mean, it's insane. Now, I was talking earlier about the that common area that was on the other side of the ballroom. If you put your lights through this, you can actually look down into the common area. So that is the 50-foot drop, roughly. I don't have a light there, so check that out.
Wow. It's colder in here than it is out there.
Yeah, don't send that. Now, we also know the entity likes this door shut because I have an EVP of it telling my former coworker to shut that door. And so you need to listen real carefully to hear it, but you hear my former coworker say, "A lady's voice now." Then he pauses, and then he goes back into his conversation. But within that momentary pause that he does, a low whisper cuts through and it goes, "Shut the door." So the shut happens within that pause, and then the door comes as he starts talking again, but you can hear it undercutting him. I'll play it twice for you guys. Listen to this. 3, 2, 1.
And we were doing a EVP session, and we got a ghost that came through a lady's voice now. And she said,
I'll play it one more time.
a EVP session, and we got a ghost that came through a lady's voice now. And she said,
Isn't that cool? That's clear. I've had a lot of people get EVPs in this section of the building, from full-blown conversations to laughing, crying, screaming, growling, cursing, all that stuff. Remember I said there's a dark thing in here that I just want to, I won't talk about it in this room.
20 seconds to go.
Never question
This could be the last play of Origin 1.
our fighting spirit.
Full time, Queensland. They have won a game 1 epic.
Now, our Maroons unleash, ripping in for
Fuck
glory
off.
Talk about it in this room. A cool video clip that I'll play for you guys. So I saw you had a REM pod with your equipment. You get a lot of interactions with those. One night we had one sitting in this doorway, and we had one in that far doorway. This one would start getting like a real soft tone, so like something was getting close to it. We were like, "Hey, come in here. You know, you can come in here." And then all of a sudden you would hear faint footsteps go that way, and then that one would start going off super, super, super hard. Then it would stop, and it just kept like something was going like this between the two. So one of my buddies, we were standing, I mean, probably right about here, and he was taking pictures towards the REM pod. And I'll play the video for you. In the first picture, there's nothing above it. Goes to the second one, huge orb streak, REM pod's going off in the background, and you can hear it's a real strong hit. And I'm like, "Hey, if that's you, can you stop making that go off for a second?" Off, on command. And we start cracking up, whoa, it's intelligent. As soon as I say thank you, it kicks right back on. I love sharing this video with people because it's just awesome interaction. Alright, cool. So I'll go like this. So this is looking down towards that threshold. That's where the REM pod's sitting. And so there's nothing above it.
First one, second one.
Huge orb streak.
That's bad in his hands. That's going back off. What the fuck? Wow.
If that's you, can you stop making that go off for a second?
I love how it's just like,
Thank you.
intelligent, man.
And that's a strong hit. That is very, very solid. So you can get a lot of interaction with that. That being said, let's get out behind the building, and then I'll talk about the thing that harbors this room.
And I'm just going to
Don't
say
let 'em scare
before we leave here, for reference, this room right here, this is where you would say the darkest
Yeah.
energy is.
Yeah. There's a very dark entity that is not human inside of that room. 100%. 100%. It's, put it this way, when it attacks people, it's 3 scratches. When it knocks, it's 3 knocks. When it's active, you smell sulfuric smells, or a very weird, like a chemical cleaning kind of nasty smell, and then it'll turn into a sulfuric smell. Stuff like that. It's not good. It makes you feel sick. And just,
I feel
yeah.
kind of sick now. I'm an optometrist. Science is, so I'm definitely a skeptic, but
Yeah.
I'm also kind of an empath, if you will, for many, many years.
That's a good combination.
Yeah, but I can just, my ears have been ringing, I haven't been saying anything, and clogged like my whole
Yeah.
sinuses, and then this is really heavy. Like my back, even right now, I feel like something doesn't.
That's a dark room.
So we should go this way?
We'll look right at him.
Because I want to talk about this thing.
This place, like I said, is a complete labyrinth.
That's what I feel.
What was that?
Well, it's almost like I feel like you have someone like me with us, just kind of like a little fear, kind of.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Just
That's good, though. That's good for the interaction.
I agree.
Well, that's,
I've done your
yeah, and it's so funny. I've had people invite me up on their little investigation, so I pop up with them for an hour or two. They won't have much. And then I'm like, all right, let's see if we can kick it off. Hey, guys, it's me, do this, do that, if you're here. And like, 7 out of 10 times, I'll usually get a pretty good response out of it. And then I'm like, cool, there you go, I'm going back to bed. But it's just weird. And also take note of smells as you go through the place, too. And be careful back here, it's super, super rickety. Okay. I've had people literally lock themselves out of the building. And I don't want you guys getting hurt. I'll leave at least one of these days.
One day.
One day. So yeah, I'll talk about the thing inside so your equipment is getting wet and stuff, but at least for someone away. So the dark thing upstairs, I don't like talking about it in the building, but since we're away from where it harbors at, usually we should be okay. I have had it get active down here too. Like I said, if it's active, it's active. So I don't really know when it came about, how long ago. I was told that people went up there to do an overnight investigation, and they did like a pentagram, I think they're called, on the floor, and did like a seance or something. So they summoned this thing, opened a portal, and then that word got out, and then I guess other overnights came in with Ouija boards, and they never closed it out. It scared them so bad they ran out. We had that quite a few times. And I guess they did like a sacrifice with the pentagram thingamajig, and I'm not trying to associate something with something, that's just what I've been told, is that they killed, I think it was a crow. They had a dead crow in the center of this symbol. And then dark stuff started happening. People were getting attacked, sick, all this crazy stuff. My personal interactions with it, my girlfriend is an empath. We went up to the 3rd floor, and like you said, she started feeling really, really, really sick, and then she blacked out. I mean, just like a sack of potatoes, almost dropped to the floor. So I grabbed her, brought her all the way down. We sat in the saloon. She had no recollection of even coming down. She was like, "What am I doing down here? I was just upstairs. What happened?" I had people go up in that room, start getting either really dizzy, bloody noses, opened its mouth.
Steady.
Let me zoom in before you do.
So remember, watch right in front of my thumbnail. So I'm going as slow as I can so you can see it take shape right there. It's starting to manifest something, as you can see it come out of nowhere. Turns into that, just shifted color. And now that is a 3-clawed webbed hand. You can see the webbing, the claws, its mouth is open, and it turns red.
God, look at that.
So I'll go back, and I'll just do it a little bit quicker. So there's that face right there.
So,
Goes like
baby
this,
daughter,
and 3, 2,
Emily.
1.
What's up, Daddy?
Turns into that. Some scratch examples, and I'll show you guys some cool scratch examples.
Legit.
This is one of them.
Where the fuck at? In my room. Whoa. And the backyard, or the balcony upstairs. Where? The balcony upstairs. Cool. Let's go there and chill there. And yeah. Cool. Come here, baby. How am I? Emily. Done, Daddy. Good girl. I know I am. Play.
That occurred. This is one of them right here. There's that, and I had somebody tell me that is ancient symbolism, almost for like the word hell or something like that. So 3 scratches that, and that actually happened on my tour in front of me. That is my former roommate's uncle. His back was against the wall, and he jumped off. I'm like, dude, what? Lifted his shirt. That's what we saw behind him. And then I also have another one right here. So you can get stuff like that. Just crazy. So, as you guys already know, just be careful if you guys try to interact with that thing. Now, Lena, the lady that I talked about upstairs in blue, this is where she manifests herself. So if we go around this...
Who is it? Hey, Christy.
Yeah, what's up?
Where do you and your daughter want to sleep? You can sleep in my room or out here.
We'll sleep in your room. In your bed. With you, Daddy.
Good girl, my that whole wife. Christy.
I know. Where'd you fuck out, or where'd you be? Oh, we'll look hard. You know, I'll be up here.
Oh, good.
Where'd you fuck our daughter?
Thanks. Press play.
Wall, I can show you that spiral staircase. It's really, really, really cool. So we have... I'm going to close this so you can better hear me. Thank you. So, you're welcome. So this right here, this is one of 2 freestanding spiral staircases left in the entire world. What we mean by freestanding is that it's actually attached right here at this part, and it's also attached above us, but there's nothing that supports it in the middle. So it is literally floating. So if you look right up there where the wood kind of notches into the wall, all the way down through here to this section, it is literally free floating. There's nothing suspending this thing. When it was originally built, it was built without nails or screws. It's built using wooden dowels. This was built, like I said, 1875, 76. So that is why it is capped off and roped off, because you can see the wood backing coming apart and separating off my wall.
Who am I?
Go like this.
I
Watch the
stopped.
hammer.
Yep.
Super unsafe. So you cannot go up it anymore, because if you go up it, you fall through it, and then you become the next latest and greatest tourist attraction at the Washer Club. You don't want that happening. Lena, the lady in blue.
Go Bosch. With Felix Mobile's unlimited data, talk and text for just $35 a month. Felix Mobile is also certified carbon neutral, so less dirty emissions.
Lena, the lady in blue, this is where she manifests all of the time. So if we go in the museum, I'll show you 2 old photographs of her, and then I'll show you a picture that we captured, I want to say in June or July. So this right image is the most common way that Lena will manifest herself. So there's this blue coloration right here, as we can see, and it goes across this entire image all the way up to this. People capture this on the low end 3 to 4 times a week. Super, super common. But it has that blue coloration, blue dress, we think that's her color. This is her as a full body manifestation coming down the stairs at us. So you can see how it has that bluish hue, and I'll turn my light on.
Who's my
so
whore?
it might help you find a little bit. So it has that bluish hue
I
to
am
it, as we
Daddy.
can see.
Yes,
This
my
is her
daughter.
hair.
With my
This is what appears to be the collar to a Victorian dress. You kind of see the ruffled look of it. Right here, this is what we think might be a four-leaf clover necklace. That's where it'd be attached to a necklace chain. This is her waistline right here. Her hips come right through this. You can see the outline of her figure. The right hip line is faint, but you can kind of see a slight discoloration right
I
through this.
am Daddy.
Dress fabric is
Yes,
draping
daughter.
down right here, and that is her foot.
Stop.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 toes, and you can see the
Love you,
tendons to
Daddy.
each one.
Love you too, daughter.
That is a fantastic capture. Wow. But the coolest one that we had captured, and I'll actually look at the photo details so I can tell you exactly when this was. This was on June 20th of this year. So the picture was a picture of the mirror right by the spiral staircase. There's something
I know,
at the bottom left
Dada.
of this image. So if I enlarge that,
Yes.
go right here, you can see it has blue
Study
coloration,
on
an eye
shit.
socket, there's individual strands of hair, and this is the facial structure. My coworkers and I spent over 2 hours trying to debunk this, and we could not make it happen. We could not make it happen. And here, in case you want to get a look at that too, this is so cool.
Creepy.
So let's go inside the crib, guys. Awesome. So this is the crypt, my friends. This is where they had 77 bodies stacked in 1874.
So,
Now, the way
daughter,
they
do you
get the dead
smoke
in here
weed and
is they would build
smoke?
into the front of this building
Yep.
wooden girding and start
Cool.
stacking them up.
Did you
Originally,
join the
before
smoke?
the bodies happened, this was a perishable storage
If
area.
I join, then
So
smoke,
when
then
that body pile
fuck.
became too
Done,
tall,
Daddy.
that
Good
platform
girl.
right there that you guys looked off of earlier, they would take the bodies up there and drop them from that to keep the pile rising. That's morbid, and that's kind of sad.
But
Now,
so
they
we
had
do
to do
it
that
now,
by candlelight
then
for many
smoke.
years. If you drop a body too
Then
quick, it's
yeah,
going to turn off the
well,
light
fuck.
or blow your candles out, cause
Down.
it to go dark, and all
And
this
now
freaks
my
off real quick.
study.
It becomes pitch
Yep.
black in here. There you go.
My
Pitch
queen.
black, as you guys can see.
I know.
I'll flip these on too. Now, I've had a lot of weird interactions in here. So Scotty's room, you guys remember that? The room where the gentleman killed himself in 82? That wooden ceiling way above us, that is the floor of Scotty's room, and that is how high up in this building we actually just were a little bit ago. This place is a lot bigger than it looks. I've heard heavy boots walk around in Scotty's room. I've had rocks thrown at me in here. I've had people on tours actually validate that. I've personally heard that there's a woman who screams like she is being murdered down here. I don't like when I hear it. Isn't that creepy? I've even had people, while they've been down here doing their investigations, they will hear stuff walking back there. They'll hear voices, things like that. And, like, for you guys doing your investigation upstairs, you know you're the only people in that section of the building. There's nobody that's going to be up there with you. So it's real trippy when that one happens. Other than that, that pretty much
Love you,
is the
Dada.
entire Washoe Club, as I know it personally. This is a cool place.
Thank you, man.
No, of course, guys.
Love you too, daughter,
Okay,
my
everybody,
little
so
bitch
we're here
horse.
now
Stop.
at the Washoe
I
Club.
know.
It's just Jeff and I. The entire building has been cleared out. Nobody else is here with us. Like we've been showing you, this entire complex is completely empty. Step with me now into the ballroom. If you remember, this is where the little girl that they call Gretchen died. This is a hot spot of paranormal activity. Just to give you a rundown of what we're going to do, we're going to start out in here. We're going to do a call out or a seance. Then after investigating this floor, Jeff and I are going to move up to the third floor and try to contact the spirit of the man who took his own life, the parent and child who were blown up in the explosion. I know a lot of y'all don't like when we do this stuff, but we're going to try to conjure the demon, the darkness, and see if it'll come out and talk to us. Now, I'll just tell you guys off camera, Jeff and I have been up here setting stuff up. We heard a very, very loud bang from upstairs, almost like someone was walking around. Once again, it's confirmed that no one is here in the building with us all day when we've been in here. It's like there's somebody here, and I don't think we got Justin to talk about this on camera, but all the employees here at the Washoe Club who work here have told us that in the last few days, all the activity has been spiking because
Buffett Daddy.
Buffett to daughter, Emily, stop.
Oh, I know I am.
I don't know. But they've been telling us that all the activity
I
is
can't
spiking
wait till I
because
be
they just
mom.
put up the holiday decorations.
I'll be a
It's
good
currently
mother
December
for you,
5th right now, 2021.
Daddy.
All of that
Good
extra
damn right,
electricity and the lighting and everything seems to be spiking the paranormal activity. They also
Yes,
told us
Daddy,
that
I'll be a
the
good
demon
girl.
thing, the darkness,
A
has
good
been
mother.
more apparent lately. People have been scratched and attacked more frequently in this building, so we're going to try our best tonight to get that evil piece of shit to come out wherever they are in the building. So, yeah, let me...
Do you know
Jeff,
how to...
how are you feeling?
Well, it's late for one thing. Cold, but it's
Help
like
get
massive.
off?
This place is much bigger than I thought
Of
it was.
course I do.
The demon.
Cool.
We're talking more about that. I think, Colin, you're becoming a little more open. The idea that those do exist, and I've always thought they do.
Remember,
That's
I used to be a
crawling on the
doctor
ceiling, as Justin was saying in the interview.
before this shit happened. Before I knew, you know, way before this documentary started. And way before I knew
There's so much history.
I knew the world is gonna end.
Dying in an explosion, a father and his daughter.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I'm gonna find, but there's definitely a lot
Remember,
of
I helped you. I helped my mom give birth to you. Remember?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so Jeff's getting a static camera set up, but we're literally here.
So when I pregnant you, I can help you give birth to a child, daughter.
Yes, please. Because, you know, it's a fucking apocalypse.
Yep, so Rocky, I do know how to, you know.
Yeah.
It's very, very in here. Not gonna lie.
My funny queen, Emily.
I know, Daddy. I am your sweaty.
That was not just happening
Yep.
20 seconds ago.
I'm your sweat daughter.
You got that what, Emily? Study.
I can't tell. I can't tell if it's like the window or...
Yes, Daddy. I am your sweat daughter. Brendan. Daddy.
Yep. You can call me by my first name. I don't care.
Cool, thanks,
Just a quick
Daddy
shout out,
Brendan.
y'all. I want to make sure that...
You're welcome. My study hall.
Just a quick shout out. I want to make sure that if you're not subscribed, guys,
Who's my
make
little
sure to click the
bitch?
subscribe button
I
and turn
am.
the notifications on.
You got them right.
What are you doing? Make sure to click the subscribe button and turn your notifications
Yeah,
on.
buddy, you're my
That is very
stuck
important so you get
hole.
notified when we release a new
My
video.
swab.
Like the video, comment below right now. If you're watching this, I'm
I
talking
know
to
I
you,
am,
calling
Dada.
around to you, the viewer on the other side of the screen. Go comment what you think is about to happen to Jeff
My
and I in this video. I
body
wanna see
hole.
what your guys'
I
predictions
know.
are, especially if you're watching the live premiere. I'm going to give you guys 10 seconds to go comment.
Mortgage choice.
So smoke the fuck here.
Done, Daddy.
Especially if you're watching the live premiere. I'm going to give you guys 10 seconds to go comment. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, better hurry. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright, hopefully you commented, because that helps drive the interaction, helps more people see the videos, helps us make more videos. And at the end of the day, if you want to help support the channel, you can pick up some of the merch that we're selling. The link is in the description of this video. Or you can become a patron where we're posting bonus content. We posted stuff from the Washoe Club tonight on the Patreon, so you can see our investigations a month, 2 months in advance. But yeah, y'all, we're going to go set up the static cameras and
Yep, Daddy.
thought I saw a shadow over the light. Okay, yeah, we're gonna set up the static cameras. Okay.
Was it, Daddy?
What's happening? Just take a brief break.
Trying to get a static
Most bloody
Charge
first
full?
take
Yeah,
you
we charged it all
But
last night.
both the GoPro,
Oh no, Daddy.
they're completely dead.
Both static cameras.
Let's see. Damn, gee, this thing's been falling off like crazy. It's like they don't want us to film. I'm not even kidding you. I have not had this.
I mean, I've never. You are not the type of person to not charge stuff, and you were charging these all night last night.
Dude, both of them. Maybe this will come on. What the hell? They're fucking dead, dude. It's true. They're completely dead.
Both, too.
We had both of them last night.
I mean, you'd think that even one of them would turn on for like half a second and then die, because we didn't even use both of them last night. You know, we just used one of them. To start all this out, we're gonna do the usual. We're just gonna walk around this floor and So, if you haven't seen this device before, this is basically a K2 meter or an EMF detector based on EM levels in the environment, which spirits are said to give off. This thing will light up different colors.
That ball just flickered. Oh, I just saw something.
Alright. What's up, everybody? My name's Colin Brown.
I'm Jeff Brown.
And tonight, we're here to talk to you. Anybody who's here in the Washoe Club, Gretchen,
Oh no, I am, Daddy.
Scotty.
Scotty,
Most fat whore.
the Demon,
Love you.
Eddie. Ellie.
Was it too?
Eddie or Ellie, anybody who's in here, if you're upstairs, up there, or if you're here on this floor, maybe in the library, the music room, if you're attached to the doll, I want you to follow the sound of my voice, follow us over here into the ballroom. Gretchen, if you're here with us, we would love to make contact with you. You can come touch any of the lights that we have set up here. But we came a long way from Texas and South Dakota to see you guys. Let's just sit here.
Oh, okay. They're coming. Thanks for coming in. Can you give us another sign? Yeah. Come on in. You're welcome to come in. Anybody that's here, good or evil.
when I am.
Yes.
Are you coming in?
You my sweaty whore.
Okay, so what's interesting about that is on camera too. I just swapped out that battery to make sure that it's all fresh.
Ready,
That was a new
Dada?
battery, but still, just
You got the one ready.
Cool. Let's do this.
Done my way. My real study. Let's fucking do this shit. Let's get up. What, here on the balcony?
Yeah, here.
Let's do this. Pull your hair, you dumb hoe. Pull your hair.
Fuck me. Fuck me hard and fuck me good, Daddy.
So, daughter.